Welcome to Stuff and Whiskey. I'm Josh.
And I'm Erin.
And we just did a totally blind head-to-head between these two barrel-proof products. George T Stagg from Buffalo Trace, Old Forester Barrel Strength from the Old Forester Distillery. How wide is the gap between these two barrel-proof powerhouses?
Stay tuned to find out. Welcome to the channel, bringing a real-world perspective to the real-world whiskey consumer.
We're not professional whiskey tasters. We're normal people just like you probably. And what we're going to do here today is we're going to randomly select one of these pairs from our blind sample pool, and we're going to taste them and let you know exactly what we think about it without any bias from the label, any hype, anything like that.
We won't know what's in either of our glasses, but you will, and you'll be able to find that information in the video description box below.
What you'll see is we'll taste through these and we'll tell you what's important to us in whiskey, which is the taste, as well as the price and the availability, and whether we'd buy it again or not. In the end, we'll give them what we call our real world score, and that is all informed by what we learned here during this blind tasting. All right, let's run our randomizer and see which one of these pairs we are tasting today.
All right.
So we've got 1 through 18 here.
1.
Number 1.
This guy.
That's a first.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to get these poured and we'll be right back with our first impressions on glass 1 from the first pair. All right, let's get into glass 1. Ooh, that is rich.
It smells rich.
That smells nice.
It smells thick.
Yeah.
Thicken.
With a few C's.
Yeah, a few.
All right, I'm getting into the taste.
All
This
right,
smells too good.
Okay.
That's got a lot of proof on it.
A lot of flavor there.
A lot of flavor,
A
a lot of
little
proof.
bit of it went up the back of my nose like chlorine in a pool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's got a lot
Don't
of
love
proof.
That, but
Ooh, wow.
it's kind of keep going.
It's making my mouth water.
Uh-huh.
Experience-wise, like a salty caramel. Just ooh, man.
I get salty, yeah.
That is so good.
Ooh.
On the nose,
I feel like something just splashed up and it like fizzled. It like fizzed in my eye or something.
yeah. On the nose, I'm just getting a lot of oak and sweetness. Just a ton of sweetness.
It tastes or it feels very like viscous on the mouth. Is that am I using that correctly?
Yeah, you are, and it is. It is. It's heavy. It's coating. It's not the heaviest thing I've ever tasted, but it's definitely heavy and coating.
Yeah.
It lasts. It's got a lot of punch right up front. It's a punchy pour, as you would call it.
It is punchy, but it's not attacking me.
Yeah.
It punched me, but then I recovered.
The finish is sweet, and it does hang around. I almost wish it had a little bit more on the finish, personally speaking, but that could just be...
Finish is good for me.
It could just be right in here in the beginning, and we'll learn more when we get into it a little bit more. That's our first impressions on glass 1. Let's get into glass 2.
All right.
That's like more of like a candy sweetness.
Kinda smells
like
the
a
same.
fruity candy, though. This smells like runts to me.
This smells kind of the same to me as the last one.
Yeah?
Kind of, actually a little more ethanol-y, alcohol-y.
I don't know. They smell really similar.
They do.
Wow.
I'm getting more alcohol off of glass 2 though.
Very similar. Okay, let's get into the palate on this one, because on the nose they smell very similar.
Oh wow. Less of a punch.
Yeah, it's a little bit more tame. And that could be us acclimating to the proof here. Like this one came out of the gate swinging.
Yeah.
Now we're acclimated. The flavors are very similar. This is like a kind of a fruity sweetness with like a little bit of candy sweetness. This is like a little bit more candy sweetness. But these are very, very similar. Like this is confusing.
I feel like it's opposite for me. I feel like glass 1 has a little more candy sweetness smell and glass 2 has a little more like alcohol-y smell.
Yeah.
But in saying that, they both kind of smell similar.
Yeah, okay. This is a really confusing matchup. We're going to absolutely have to take some real time with these two and discern what exactly is going on here. So we're going to do that right now. We'll be back with a full tasting discussion right after this. Wow. Are these the same thing?
I don't know.
All right, after spending some time with these two pours, where are you at? Let's start with glass one.
All right, so for glass one, I gave it a thumbs up on nose. It's really good. I liked it. I gave it a thumbs up on flavor. Are you ready for this? I gave it 2 thumbs up
on the rare Aaron 2 thumbs up
overall experience, because yes, it kind of punched me, but yes, I kind of liked it. So where are you at?
Glass 1 for me, I gave it 2 thumbs up on the nose.
Okay.
I said it had a salted caramel. That salted caramel note hit me at first, then just classic bourbon stuff, vanilla, oak, a little bit of honey. I was like, is it brown sugar? Is it honey? It's somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
Honestly, I should say this right now. If I were in a conversation with somebody and not trying to be a discerning taster, which I'm not anyways,
right,
I couldn't tell the difference between these two.
They're very similar.
I had to actually not talk and really focus on them to get the differences. But to me, 2 thumbs up on the nose on Glass 1.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it thumbs up on flavor. I said all that stuff carried over with a prevalent honey note, and it had a nice oak note on it as well. And then on the experience, I gave it a thumbs up. I said it was viscous. It had a big spicy oak kick with some cinnamon, and then it went a little bitter on the backside. A lot of that stuff I just said is going to sound really similar to what I say for Glass 2, but first, let's get your Glass 2 impressions.
Okay. So for me, for Glass 2, the nose was just okay, because initially on it and kind of throughout, it was just a lot of ethanol or alcohol smell. It has opened up some, but it got just okay on nose, because for the most part, I got a very big alcohol smell.
Okay.
Flavor, it did get a thumbs up because it was good, and it was very similar to Glass 1, but not quite as good. So I just got a thumbs up on experience as well.
Okay. For me, for Glass 2, I gave it 2 thumbs up on the nose. These were the same for me. 2 thumbs up on the nose. Again, salted caramel, vanilla, oak. Whereas Glass 1 was a little bit more honey on the nose. Glass 2 leaned a little bit more on the brown sugar side, but like that was really splitting hairs.
Yeah.
On the flavors, I gave it a thumbs up. I said all that stuff carried over. It went a little bit more appley sweet, which I preferred. And then it had a little bit of a sour tinge because of that appley sweetness, almost like a Granny Smith, like a green tart apple.
Yeah.
It had that going on. And then on the experience, 2 thumbs up. That's really kind of where it separated itself a little bit from Glass 1 for me. Big spice, but instead of oak with a little bit of cinnamon, it was more cinnamon with a little bit of oak. And I like that a little bit more.
A little twist action.
Yep. And it was viscous. Glass 1 leaned a little bitter. Glass 2 leaned a little bit more drying, but not quite as bitter. But again, that's like me really focusing. You could tell me these were the same thing and I'd believe you. They're very, very, very close. I just had a very slight preference to Glass 2.
Ooh, see, I had a slight preference to Glass 1.
On a different day, I could prefer Glass 1. These are almost a flip of the coin for me. I preferred Glass 2, but I had to think about it as to which I preferred. And it wasn't a clear-cut case, and the margin is very, very slim.
Yeah.
Glass 1 is $14 and Glass 2 is $15. So we're going to find out the price first and react to that, and then we'll find out what we're drinking. So $14 and $15.
I saw the price. Glass, and it's not bad. It's just more than I like.
Okay.
Glass 1, number 14, is $100.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Dang.
14 is one.
Okay.
And then 15 is $80.
Okay.
So not far, kind of close, in the same price point. But
I like both of these quite a lot. I'd be happy paying that for both of them, although that is kind of at my ragged limit for what they both are.
That's like the $100 price range for me personally. That's like the max I would be willing to pay for something if I really, really liked it. But it wouldn't be something I would probably like drink very frequently because I wouldn't want to have to keep paying $100.
Yeah.
But it would be a special occasion pour.
I'd pay that for both of these. I wouldn't pay really much more than that for either one of these.
I wouldn't
But
either.
they're both really good. I enjoyed them both quite a lot. I'm happy that the one I like is $20 cheaper.
I know, that's rare.
I feel like there's no way these are going to be available.
Normally you're more bougie and I'm a little more cheap.
Let's find out what they are.
Okay, Glass 1.
Glass 1, number 14.
Oh man, George T Stagg. I'm not going to get George T Stagg for $100. There's no way that's going to happen.
Well, I got it in a raffle, but wow. Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
Old Forester Barrel Proof. is number 2, which honestly, okay. Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
I understand. Now that I'm becoming more in the whiskey world, I know George T Stagg is hard to get, and I did prefer it. But Old Forester Barrel Proof, is that more readily available?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then
George T Stagg.
if I had to choose between George T Stagg and Old Forester Barrel Proof, and I had to like jump through hoops to get George T Stagg, I would go with Old Forester Barrel Proof because it was still really good.
You'll have to jump through a few hoops to get this, but not nearly as many. George T Stagg might as well be unobtainium. I got it in a raffle.
Dang it.
End of year, wait in line type of thing.
Son of a biscuit.
These both have scored well for me in previous blind head-to-heads. They've both scored moderately okay for you in previous blind head-to-heads. These are definitely more in my wheelhouse of flavor and proof.
Well, as we've previously established, and probably, I'm going to guess it was last week's video, I have now graduated from whiskey newbie to beginner intermediate. So that makes sense why I like these now.
Yeah. In previous blinds, I've given both of these perfect tasting scores.
Wow.
And tonight, I'm honestly stunned that they tasted as close as they did.
They did taste very similar.
Yeah.
There was just a small difference for me in like the nose.
I'm a little bit shook at the result, so I'm a little off kilter and off base here. We were talking about George T Stagg and being how it's so difficult to get. Old Forester Barrel Strength. This is a single barrel.
Okay.
It's a really good single barrel. Some of them are lava hot. However, I've had several of them, and all the ones I've had have been phenomenal. In previous blinds, I've said this tastes like a liquefied Snickers bar.
Okay.
And it's funny because I said that this had a little bit more appley sweetness. Typically, I get more apple sweetness on George T Stagg.
Well, that's good we did it blind.
And on Buffalo Trace. Yeah, this is why we do it blind.
Yeah.
Because it lets you compare things you might not otherwise be able to compare. But proof-wise, George T Stagg's like 130.4 proof. I think this Old Forester Barrel
like
String
128.
is like 128-ish.
Very close.
But I think these both drink really true to their proof points. The fact that this went a little bitter, not surprising. It's 15 years old, so it's kind of got like a bitter dark chocolate note on it. Whereas this one was like a little bit, it didn't have that bitterness to it.
Okay.
It's not as old. I tend to actually prefer stuff that's not too old, that doesn't have that bitter note. I like a little bit more sweet oak. And once you get a little more old, it gets a little bit more bitter. This is a fascinating matchup. I actually put this matchup in our blind sample pool. This was one from me.
Yeah.
Whenever it did pop up, I had no clue that they would be this close.
Yeah.
But you will be able to get this in our market. It will drop at stores, and if you can get there the day that it drops, if you can catch them on social media, if you can find out like X store has Old Forester Barrel Strength, if you can get there that day, you can probably get a bottle.
Okay.
I'm stunned. I'm a little sorry. I'm gonna apologize to you viewers. I'm a little all over the place. I'm stunned that that's what this was. Like,
yeah.
All right, we've established availability is terrible on both of these, but slightly better on the Old Forester.
Better,
price wise, we've already talked about
they're both
whether we buy it again or not. I mean, we'll get into that when we get into our real world scores, which is what we're going to do right now. We'll be right back with those. We do our real world scores on a 10-point scale, but it's not your traditional 10-point scale. It's more like a bell curve. We found that most things tend to fall in that 4 to 6 point range, right in the middle. For us, the further away you get from that midpoint, the more exceptional you get.
Yep. We get our scores by adding up the thumbs you see on the screen. Thumbs down, we don't like it.
No points.
Just okay, we kind of like it.
Half a point for that.
Thumbs up, we like it.
1 point.
2 thumbs up, we really like it.
2 points. You've seen retail and consumer words on your screen. The retail is the retail side of the equation. It's the price and the availability of the product in question. And then the consumer side is the consumer side of the equation, whether we'd buy it again as consumers or not. So with all that added up together, that gives you your real world score. So Erin, glass 1, where are you at retail, consumer, and real world score?
Okay.
George T Stagg.
I have a score, but I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
How hard is it for real to get George T Stagg?
Insanely hard.
Okay.
I got insanely lucky to get it.
Okay.
Only because I was at the right place at the right time,
Okay.
at the right place in line.
So I was going to give it just okay on the real world score because I did like it and I
For the
would
price?
for the price. But if it's really, really hard to get, I'm going to give it a thumbs down on
Yeah.
retail score, unfortunately.
That's probably the right retail score.
I know.
Not a spoiler alert for my scoring at all.
Yeah, okay, so tell me about yours. Or no,
Wait, consumer score.
Oh.
Would you buy it again?
if I could find it
Yeah.
for retail, yes. So I give it a thumbs up. I would buy it again.
Okay.
If I can find it without too much trouble, yes, I would buy it. Thumbs up.
And then what does that put your real world score at for George T Stagg?
5
5 out of 10.
out of 10.
Squarely in the middle, obviously hampered by its availability.
Availability.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this isn't quite your bourbon wheelhouse, so you'll see this reflected in my scores. We'll get
Okay.
right into that.
All right.
So for me, retail score, I agree, it's a thumbs down. The price at $100, if it were available all the time, I would give it probably a thumbs up, maybe a just okay, because that's a lot of money.
It is a lot of
I
money.
wouldn't want to pay any more than $100 for it. On secondary, it goes for like $650
I would
or
not.
more.
I like
It's not
it,
worth
but I
that.
wouldn't pay $600
No,
for it.
it's not. It's a good pour. It's just not worth
Yeah.
any more than retail price to me personally. Now, consumer score, would I buy it again or not? 2 thumbs up. A little bit of that is influenced by the fact that it is George T Stagg and
Yeah.
it is hard to get, but it is a really good pour. I really do enjoy it. I gave it on experience a thumbs up, but it was really close to 2 thumbs up for me. And it was only in comparison that it took a little bit of a step back
Yeah.
to Glass 2. With that said, let's get into Glass 2. Where are you
Okay.
at for Glass 2? Old Forester single barrel strength.
So for Glass 2, for retail score, I gave it a thumbs up. But is it like you said, if I'm there the day it drops, I can
Yeah.
get it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with my
The
thumbs
only
up.
difference is it's a single barrel, so you can't get this exact one again. However, with that said, we say this all the time. The likelihood that this is the single best single barrel
Right.
is very unlikely. There's probably others out there that aren't this good. There's probably plenty more out there that are way better than this.
Okay, so yeah,
So-
I'm gonna stick with my thumbs up on the retail score for Old Forester. But for consumer score, would I buy it again? Out of the 2, it wasn't my favorite, so I gave it just okay. Like,
Yeah.
I might buy it again. I probably would buy it again because I probably can't get George T Stagg.
Yeah.
So, but I gave it just okay. So for a total score of 4 out of 10.
Oh, okay. So for me, Glass 2, I gave it just okay on retail score. I could see a thumbs up for sure.
Mm-hmm.
To me, the fact that the price is great for what you're getting. I mean, you're getting a product, to me, that's comparable, if not better than George T Stagg. And George T Stagg differs year by year, just like single barrels differ year by year.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, you're getting great value for the money in this product. However, with my job, my work schedule, my life schedule, I can't always make it to a drop when a store puts out a product. So even though I could probably get it if I saw it that day, I may not be able to get there that day to
Yeah.
get it. So that's a little frustrating to me. Well, I'm not big on bourbon hunting, so to me, it gets a just okay on retail score.
Okay.
Would I buy it again or not? Consumer score. It definitely gets a thumbs up. Matter of fact, it gets 2 thumbs up for me.
Whoa!
Because I like it so much.
Hot
These
diggity dog.
both get 2 thumbs up for me on consumer scores for
Yeah.
different reasons. George T Stagg, a little bit because of the rarity. Old Forester barrel strength, because it's just a really, really good product that seems to fit my palate really well. So that puts the real world score for me on Old Forester barrel strength at a 7.5.
Wow.
So for me, George T Stagg is a 6. Old Forester barrel strength, 7.5. For you, George T Stagg is a 5. Old Forester barrel strength is a 4. Very, very interesting matchup. I think we've already covered, we put this in here. This is a matchup that I wanted to put in to our blind pool because both of these have scored perfect scores for me before, and I've never compared them back to back. And I don't know that if we did it even single blind, where we knew they were each in each glass and we mixed them up,
Yeah.
I don't know that I could be objective. I needed to do this double blind to see which one I actually preferred.
Yeah.
And now that I know, I will absolutely enter raffles and lotteries for George T Stagg. And if I get one, great. But This is hardly a
Yeah.
consolation prize. I actually preferred it. I think these are for anybody who really likes high proof bourbon.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. If you really like high proof bourbon, George T Stagg is probably a grail bottle for you. The story of how I got this is pretty funny, and it's not for this video. It's a little bit longer than that, but I got totally lucky in a very random drawing to be able to buy this at retail.
Yep.
But again, Old Forester Barrel Strength is hardly a consolation prize. And I am stunned because this product...
You like that better.
This is probably half the age of this. But that just
Really?
goes to show you... Oh, if not less.
Really?
But that just goes to show you that just because something is hyped up and just because it's harder to get, it doesn't mean you're going to like it better. And that's what this showed me today.
I liked it better.
Well, you did. Yeah.
But you didn't, and that's fine.
And in our personal lives, like, you tend to gravitate a little bit more towards like the bitter dark chocolate, and I tend to gravitate a little bit more towards the milk chocolate.
That is true.
I'm sweet and she's bitter. That's what we...
That is also true. Yes, he's not wrong.
So, you know, it's really a personal preference thing. And I think that this matchup goes to show in a very interesting way, in a very honest way, because we had no clue what we were drinking, that you don't necessarily need to mortgage the house to get yourself a bottle of George T Stagg.
I would advise against that. Please don't ever do that.
It's so strange to me, like Old Forester Barrel Strength, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. There's a lot of barrel proof, big distillery products on the market that are a lot easier to get than Buffalo Trace's barrel strength products, and they're just as good. They're different a little bit. Honestly, I asked Aaron multiple times
Are these
during
the same?
our back-to-back tastings.
Are you sure they're not the same? I'm like, they're not
so
the same.
close. They are so close.
They were different to me, but also so
subtly
similar.
different.
Subtly
Very
different. Subtly different, but also very similar.
And I had a subtle preference towards this.
Yep.
And that's how good Old Forester barrel strengths can be.
Yep.
Elijah Craig barrel proofs can be. Like, you don't have to go all in on a George T Stagg to get this level of good bourbon.
Agreed.
If you like blind head-to-heads like this, if you've enjoyed this video and you maybe want to go on the same experience for yourself, you can check the link in the description below for our Patreon. We got tons of stuff on there. Community element, that's where we are online other than YouTube. And also we have blind tasting kits in a couple of our tiers where you get 8 sample jars, you get our scoring rubrics that we use, you get instructions, the whole 9 yards, and we walk you through it. We're not experts, we're just regular people like you, and we talk you through it from that perspective. You can also find the date of our next live stream in the video description below as well. So if you want to tune in live and have a virtual pour with us, a little happy hour action, you can check that out in the description below as well.
The live streams are always so fun. They're one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
So I love it.
Maybe her favorite thing.
It might be, because I love talking with everyone, and which is funny because I'm kind of introverted. So
well, we both are.
Go figure.
That's why we have a YouTube channel. We're not hanging out with people in real life doing this.
Exactly. But if you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. We'd really appreciate the support. And if you're not subscribed to us, subscribe. You don't want to miss all this fun.
Yeah.
And then you can hit that notification bell to be notified every time we post a video also.
Till next week, guys.
Cheers. If I drink something that's high proof, I feel like a real bourbon person, and I liked it.
Welcome to Stuff and Whiskey. I'm Josh.
And I'm Erin.
And I forgot what I'm going to say.
Sweet.
Totally blanked. How wide is the gap between these two barrel-proof powerhouses?
Stay tuned to find out.
Oh, I said barrel-proof powerhouses.
You did. That was awesome.
Is that good?
You killed it. You are the killing machine of cold opens.
We both know that's not true.